We've created an innovation we call the Virtual Reality Modeling Language, or VRML, or VRML for short, which is a 3D equivalent of HTML. So that rather than having a web document which is text with links to other objects in the web, you can create a world, an environment, a scene, where the scene is a real three-dimensional scene that you can walk through. And items in this scene can then be linked into the World Wide Web. VRML is the product of a community of people working together to produce a standard that was open and available to everyone. This was an effort worldwide, with 2,000 people all over the world contributing the best of what they knew. VR of the web will not be slow. As it turns out, our biggest issue with the web is latency. That is, how long it takes for something to get back to you rather than how long it takes for something to actually get to you. All right. What we're doing is we're using a whole set of techniques to optimize data communication on the web. And in general, most of the time when you're using the web in VR, you'll probably be using it in conjunction with the CD-ROM, which has the local contents of the world. And what you're getting over the web is the arrangement of those contents. Because these worlds are accessible over the web, it means that any user from any machine anywhere can access any VRML environment. VRML is a standard, and that means that any platform that can access the web can also access VRML. And this opens up the door to VR in a way that it's never been opened before. But when you get down to brass tacks, VR is an interface technology. It's like a keyboard or a mouse or a screen. And VR means that you can interact entirely with the computer, and that it becomes human-centered computing, so that the computer bends to your will and not you to the computer's. A revolution that we went through a few years ago was a revolution with the sound blasters, where computers couldn't really do sound very well. Now they can all do CD quality sound. They can sample at CD quality, and they can play back at CD quality. We're about to see that same revolution take place with respect to 3D graphics, so that over the next year or two, most computers will have 3D graphics cards in them that will give them incredible horsepower for being able to do real-time interactive computer graphics, and it won't really raise the cost of the computers very much. When you put together that kind of sound capability and that kind of 3D graphics capability, you have your average PC being able to do what we call virtual reality. There are certain types of things that you really need to see in 3D to get a full sense of them. A landscape, or a sculpture. And you need to see those in 3D. Photographs won't work. All right. So we think that as we explore, we'll come to understand why 3D is better than 2D. Right now, it's just because 3D is more like the real world, and it requires no training, because you can make an interface, a computer interface that conforms to the way we learned the real world works. If you've done that, then you've achieved what we call an NFI, or a nice, friendly interface. Actually, it stands for no fucking interface, but can't put that on the film. One of the things that I find the most interesting about VRML and the whole process involved here is watching people get their own ideas of things they want to do. Long before any VRML browsers or software were out there, the chemists around the world had started putting their chemical molecules into VRML. They'd been waiting a long time for something like this, and now chemists worldwide are trading information across the internet. They're showing each other their molecules and annotating them using the World Wide Web. This was something no one had ever expected. It has nothing to do with entertainment. It has nothing to do with turning the web into Doom plus home shopping. As for commerce, I think you will see people be using VRML very heavily to be able to buy and sell things. But commerce always begins with trust. It's not possible to have a commercial relationship unless you can have a relationship based on trust. And so we have to bring that back into our understanding of what our communications technologies have to allow us to provide. So far, with our work in the web and our work in VRML, we've been very concerned with the eye. And that's because our culture, our Western culture, is very visual, it's very literate, and it depends on the eye. Well, we're about to start bringing the ear into play. And whereas space is in the eye, place is in the air. Community is a voice, it's not something that you see. Our communications technologies are clearly a two-edged sword. In one way, they can bring us together, but in one way, they also separate us. Someone called the internet the social condom because it allowed us to have social intercourse without any of the dangers normally associated with it. And it seems that even though AOL's chat rooms are becoming more and more crowded, less and less of us are actually meeting on the street to have an actual conversation. So there appear to be two trends, and I don't know that VR or VRML will do anything to accelerate or slow down these trends, but I do think we're going to find people who will provide their primary mechanism of social intercourse in the world through a mediated environment by placing the computer in between us rather than using the computer to augment us. And what you'll see, I think, is we're going to start modeling the city and the country and then the world in VRML so that we will have that there as a reference for ourselves. And we'll be able to use that to manage our planet and to manage our communities. It's funny because a lot of people are really starting to look for the, quote, killer app on the web. We know it's not browsers because browsers are free. People are starting to think that it's searching and that it's sorting or that it's 3D. None of these are the killer app. None of these are really where we're going. The web is about communication. The web is about community. The web is about building a place for us inside of our global internet. As Pavel Curtis said, and he's from Xerox PARC, people are the killer app of the 90s.